And welcome to the NFL Today on YouTube. JB along with Coach Nate and Matt. And the game we're going to focus on right now, gosh, a must-win. I hope Bill agrees with that. By Kansas City taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Coach, a very impressive, I think, outing by Indianapolis. But as I said before, a must-win for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you came into this game, it was kind of a litmus test. We talked about the Indianapolis Colts, and I thought they played a very good football game, to be quite honest with you. And I thought they did a lot of really good things in that game. Probably weren't able to close it out and finish it in the second half, and maybe had some drives that they could have continued with and maybe used up some of that clock. But I think from the Kansas City Chiefs, to me, around the third quarter, you saw a level of desperation, and there was a sense of like finality that they knew that this game, and I think you're right, it was one of those must-wins. I think they come out of this game, we talked about the running game, they ran it 41 times. They take some of that pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, some of that pressure off of that offensive line. That's what the running game does. It also keeps your defense somewhat fresh because you're using up clock. But I think the biggest concern I come out of this game with is just the inability to finish drives. They're 1 of 6 in the red zone. They're going down there. They're not scoring touchdowns. They're having to kick field goals. And at the end of the game, there's no margin of error in terms of what they have to do. They won this game, a lot to build off on a short week now having to go to Dallas.
To add on to your point, 33 first downs for the Chiefs, 148 yards rushing, 346 yards passing. Just 23 points. Yeah. It's a fatal flaw for them if they can't get it corrected down the stretch. The inability to put touchdowns on the board when they have those opportunities in the red zone. Because if your yards are not matching up to points scored, it's difficult to overcome week after week after week. However, they have championship pedigree.
Come on now.
And they've got champions on that roster. And they've got people that don't flinch in end-of-game situations. So it's the rub. Last year, they overcame a lot of those things. Let's take a look at the last drive of this ballgame in overtime. What is Patrick Mahomes going to do? This is it. 3rd and 7. He's going to climb in that pocket and find Xavier Worthy on the crossing route. Clutch play. Again, moving up there, finding Rashee Rice on that crossing route, really to seal the ballgame right there, and then running the football physically with Kareem Hunt to set up just a chip shot for Harrison Butker to go ahead and win this ballgame. I love the pedigree. I love the competitiveness. I love how their mindset doesn't flinch at the end of game situations.
Yeah.
But you got to score touchdowns. You got to find ways to score more touchdowns when you have the opportunities to do it. I think if you're going to be a championship team, because I think that's what kind of caught them at the end of the year last year as well, specifically in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we just showed some numbers of Rashee Rice stepping up for his team. And you can see he's getting more comfortable inside this offense. But speaking of stepping up, I love how these guys rose to the challenge, because oftentimes I try to think about what a coach is saying going into a specific game. And I can only imagine what their defense coordinator Spags is saying to these guys as they were facing Jonathan Taylor, who we've been talking about is in the MVP conversation, saying, listen, if you want to be a team that's for real, you're going to have to shut down this running back. And what did they do? They shut down the running back. Jonathan Taylor has been on a tear this season, and they locked in and made sure he wasn't going to beat them, and also make Daniel Jones or give him the ability to be comfortable within his own offense. And this isn't the first time this defense has stepped up to the challenge. Ashton Jeanty held him to 21 yards. Derrick Henry, 42 yards. Gibbs, 65. And then, of course, Taylor, 58. So I appreciate that, because when a coach decides to challenge his squad and they step up, especially in the month of December, the month of November, and then we're going into December, this is where you decide who you're going to be in the postseason if they are indeed a postseason team. So we shall see. But I just love the fact that as much as we focus on this offense, which rightfully so, when we talk about the Chiefs, it's all about Mahomes and Kelsey and these playmakers, we oftentimes overlook this defense, which is holding it down for this squad.
And, just to elaborate a little bit more on that defense, because you think about the great defenses. We talk about the Denver with Benito, Cooper, Pat Surtain in the back end. You go down to Houston, you're talking about Robinson, you're talking about Daniel Hunter, on the outside. Great guys, and they can rush you with 4. The biggest thing I see with this, with what Spags does, he does it with scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to give
you
different
point,
looks.
Coach.
He kind of pressures you. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, it's like, that 4th down play, they're going to try to get him off sides. He was bringing it.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to bring it from anywhere. And he's not afraid to bring anybody from anywhere.
Right.
So you really go into this, And the way he does it, his scheme is really hard to prepare for. It puts a lot of pressure. And he's going to take away what he perceives to be your strength.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the one thing, I remember learning that from Bill Belichick. Was like I'm going to make you beat me second-handed. I'm going to take away what you think is your strength. I'm going to take away your strength. Beat me with what you think is second-handed. And I think that's what they did today with Jonathan Taylor. That's what he does when he goes against some of these teams. He identifies what the strength of that team is. I'm going to take it away. You want to beat me, go ahead, throwing the football and matched up outside one-on-one, so be it. Daniel Jones beat me. But you know what? Jonathan Taylor isn't going to beat me.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I think the next 4 days are probably the most important 4 days in this closing stretch. You played 91 plays offensively.
Yeah.
They had all of that, time of possession, the number of snaps that you have, and now you have quick turnaround, and you've got to go play on Thanksgiving afternoon against the Dallas Cowboys. How Andy controls the recovery in the next 4 days, but also gets them ready to go, because it's imperative that they get to 7-5. They're still in that space where they don't have any of the tiebreakers in the conference or in the division. So every win is at a premium right now because of the tiebreakers that are set up. The next 4 days are huge, huge for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And Patrick Mahomes mentioned that after the game.
Yeah.
He keeps it real. He's like, listen, we needed this. We needed this. It's almost like we need to be reminded what it was like to win in November and December, even though they've been doing it for the past handful of years. But oftentimes, because this is a new team. This team has a completely different fingerprint than the ones in the past, so they need to get that feeling back. All of a sudden, you start tasting the victories, and you're like, you know what? This is who we are. We do know what it's like to play important football in these months late in the season.
Yeah, everyone kept saying, oh, the Chiefs are going to be there. The Chiefs are going to be there. And Patrick Mahomes is saying, we're not there.
There's no guarantees.
Okay, so, there's going to be a sense of urgency in how we prepare, a sense of urgency of how we play, a sense of urgency week to week, day to day.
Yeah.
If we can get by this game on Thursday, got a little mini bye.
Yep.
And then the real playoffs start.
Yep.
Now we're going to go back into our division.
Here we go. We got Houston week 14. We've got the Chargers week 15.
Yeah.
Should get a win against Tennessee week 16. Denver week 17. And then finish with Las Vegas in the division.
So let me ask the obvious question. I hear how you guys are breaking it down. Nobody disputes the championship caliber that these guys have, how to overcome difficulties. What needs to be done offensively to be able to execute down the stretch? Because the way you characterize it, if they don't get that squared away, there's no guarantee beyond that.
Yards need to turn into points. We can't have yards without the points.
Is the ability
there? You
there?
have to score touchdowns when you get down there in the red area. I think they were 1 for 5 in terms of
6.
1 for 6 today in terms of scoring touchdowns when they were in the red area. Coach, one of the things I thought you said was interesting is you feel like there's a lack of creativity down there in that red area. So much of what we've seen from the Chiefs in the past is creativity and getting cheap, open touchdowns.
They had fun down there before.
It just seems like a struggle right now.
Now they used to have fun down there. Okay, how are we going to get in this week? Now it's like, can we get in?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer to that is. There's going to be a degree of like, it's okay to line up with a fullback and maybe what you just did there and run the ball more than once or twice.
I'm with you. I think the answer is Kareem Hunt.
I agree.
I think the answer is Kareem Hunt getting downhill when you get in the red area and giving him multiple opportunities.
I get it, but I would love for them to season in a few trick plays. I get it. There's a fine line between being gimmicky and then doing trick plays when you need them. But back in the day, they blended it. There was a gray area. Their trick plays were also very good schematic plays that put defenses on their heels. So I just feel like if you're going to get down there, you can use the old school football with Kareem Hunt and also those creative plays that keeps defenses on their heels.
One last thing, though. They've got to eliminate the penalties. Penalties killed them today in the red area. You think back to the Travis Kelce touchdown run that he has in that situation, and you've got the penalty. You need to play penalty-free football when you're in the red zone. They haven't done a good enough job of that.
They're playing on the edge, but they found a way to win today.
There you go.
Right.
Let me just say this. I've been your student for a long time. You told me that the ground attack, the run game, is as much what as anything?
It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It's about the attempts, and all of a sudden it does so much for your team. It's a toughness. It's a toughness not just physically, it's a toughness mentally.
And they showed that today until they can get that creativity and everything else back. Absolutely. Hey, folks, be sure to tune in 12 noon on Sundays on the NFL Today.
Welcome inside our CBS Sports Studios. I'm Adam Schein. He's Kyle Long. Man, I had the Chiefs buried. I really did. I thought it was 20-9 in the fourth quarter.
Now you got to go get your shovel out.
I mean, Kyle, it's 20-9. Yeah. I picked Indianapolis to win. They're like Freddy and Jason from the horror movies, right?
Yeah.
You think the Chiefs are dead, and they're just not. You're looking over your shoulder. All of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes goes from the season's over to a season high in yards. Rashee Rice, amazing. Kareem Hunt's amazing. Butker with a couple of clutch kicks, one at the gun in regulation, one in overtime. Vintage Andy Reid. Shame on me and all the haters out there. Shame, 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 shame.
You know, I just think it's such a great job flipping the script on what has been the Kansas City Chiefs' MO this season, and that has been what? Losing close games. And you get an opportunity with the season on the line at home against a conference opponent, not only a conference opponent, a red-hot conference opponent in the Indianapolis Colts, and you got to find a way to handle business. And I know that those guys in the Kansas City locker room, they're really happy right now. I know they would have liked to win by 14 points or whatever, but they're still alive. The guys on the wall behind me, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, as long as Andy's still wearing the headset, as long as 15's the guy taking you out of the huddle in 2 minutes to go on a game-winning drive, you're going to be in a good spot if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it's evidenced in just all the guys who have had to step up for this team over the course of the last handful of years. Take a look at the offensive line. Big 65, Trey Smith, not out there today dealing with stuff. Obviously Josh Simmons in and out of the lineup, the left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. But he's in there now, and he looks great. You have enough with Patrick Mahomes. You have enough with Steve Spagnuolo to be able to press the right buttons defensively. You need to see an inspired effort defensively from that group if they want to make another run at this thing. And I know making another run is far-fetched right now. They're just trying to stay alive and get out of the damn, grave that you dug them.
It's true.
But it's the Kansas City Chiefs, Adam.
But you say make a run, and this is why the way you phrase it, I feel compelled to
I sat on that couch over there with Bill Cowher and Antonio Pierce at 10 a.m. this morning, both of which took their teams from the wild card spot to the Lombardi Trophy hoisting spot. So until that is not in the cards, I'm going to say we got to wait and see for the
But Kyle, that's the entire premise, because they beat the Colts today. Like, there's a real shot that this is a playoff game preview.
Yeah.
Or Indianapolis could end up being the 1 seed. So if you could beat them, you could beat anybody. And not only is this such a big deal in terms of the standings, right? 6-5 makes all the difference in the world. Look, they were on a 2-game losing streak and looked bad. Patrick Mahomes in Buffalo completed 44% of his passes. That's a career low. Then the bye, that's automatic. Andy Reid after the bye. They lost the Andy Reid after the bye game, and Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, I brought my shovels to work today. We're digging, Kyle. I had it, and a 20-9? I mean, I'm taking a victory lap around the studio. The fact that they won, look, every single team in the AFC is now on notice. Because what you just said, I mean, you're smiling. I mean, that is a bleep-eating grin right there. Because every single team in the AFC is saying, you kidding me? You're going to let these guys back in the hunt? Because no one's going to want to play
them. Get away with it.
You can't.
I mean, like, they have so much experience being at the top of the pile, right? And this is almost like character development, like season 7 of your favorite show, season 8. Well, in this season, the protagonist, Patrick Mahomes, has to be drugged through the mud. He's going to lead his team in rushing for the first 8 weeks of the season. And he's the best passer that maybe ever lived, but he's out there scratching and clawing and losing in one-score games. They had to flip the script today, watching that defense find a way to make a stop. The offense finding a way to lean on their stars like they have in yesteryear's successful campaigns. Tyreek Hill on 3rd down. Travis Kelce and gotta-have-it situations. They made those plays. Rashee Rice was incredible at the end of the game. Xavier Worthy finding a way to get open and make a big chunk play. I just think it's Kansas City Chiefs football, as dominant as they have been in terms of Super Bowls, AFC West titles, AFC titles. This team, they've been in a ton of close games over the years, and they found a way to win. They found a way today. Maybe that sparks the flame and gets them rolling a little bit. They're not out till they're out, Adam, and they ain't out yet.
Look, if this will serve as motivation, I'll be more than happy to do it. I still don't love this team.
Yeah.
They still have struggled in those one-score games. That makes today obviously fantastic, and if you're a Chiefs fan, you need to celebrate. Look, they could have even had a touchdown earlier. There was a bad call on a Kelsey touchdown, a direct snap to him. You know, face mask call on offensive lineman. That was a terrible call. Tony Romo, Gene Steratore, Jim Nantz were all over that. I still think Denver's better. I still think that Buffalo matches up really well with the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think if a team like Houston finds a way to make it with their defense, they can certainly do some damage against Kansas City. There are some other tough matchups here, and the schedule's pretty tough down the stretch of the season. I still don't fully trust, Kyle, these Kansas City Chiefs, but maybe I just have to be careful here before I count them out.
There's a lot of teams that are good enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on paper. And there have been a lot of teams that have beat them in the regular season. But are you great enough to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in crunch time? And that's the playoffs. And right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are in their playoffs.
It's amazing. I mean, it's just, you think they're dead. You think it's over. Season's over.
Yep.
Until it's not.